And we are back with another episode of From the Rafters. Sam and I are here on Tuesday, April 26th. Back for the first time in what feels like an eternity as I finally made my return from vacation. Sam was telling me before we hopped on, not an ideal time for vacation. And it's right. I didn't really have a choice in the matter. It was based around tour dates and wedding dates and stuff that was out of my control. But we're back regardless and just in time for bliss. I don't really know how else to describe it. Like, this is phenomenal time to be a Celtics fan. The only undefeated team left in the playoffs this year. It's incredible. Just incredible.
What a time it is. Kyrie and the fellas could not take a game off the Celtics. He stepped on the logo last season. He crapped himself in the playoffs this year. He had one excellent game in game one. They couldn't close it, which we'll get into later. Gave the fans the finger, which I personally don't care if he did or didn't. Doesn't matter to me. I don't know why
Yeah.
people are getting upset at that. If you were in the wrong. You're probably an adult. And if you're a kid, the middle finger's not a secret. So moving on from that, he gave us a nice refresher on the Milwaukee Bucks series from 2019 when he played horrible and then told everyone he should have shot more shots and said, who cares? So going into the series, he said, hey, why don't we all take a time to remember my moments when I was here? So he helped us remember that. It was very nice of him. KD had a rough series too. Celtics did an excellent job slowing him down. Grant Williams deserves a lot of credit. So does Tatum. KD came to play in game 4, though. That's for sure. He put out his best game of the series. Celtics took it on the chin. And that seemed to be the theme of the series. The Celtics took a lot on the chin. And I haven't even got into how well some of the guys on this team played. Besides Grant, I gave him a nice shout out. But we can start off all that.
Love to see it. I see in all these stats. This is I don't know the way to phrase this. The third smallest margin of victory in a sweep in NBA history, I think, which is crazy. Celtics won by an average of 4.5 points. It is the first time in NBA history where the losing team in a sweep, or maybe a losing team in any series that has been won. Here we go. Sorry. The Nets shot a higher effective field goal percentage than the Celtics in the first round and got swept. That's the first time that has ever happened in NBA history. And it's ironic to say that the Nets shot better on offense, but the Celtics won because of their defense. But that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. The Celtics won because they were able to slow down Brooklyn Stars. Sure, Kyrie popped off for 39 in game 1. And sure, KD put up 39 in game 4.
39 sandwich for the Nets.
But those were the only good performances from either of those two guys for the entire series. In a 4-game sweep with the potential of 8, because 2 times 4 is 8. I do math. 8 potential pop-off games, they had 2. And that's enough to get swept. And that's the reason everyone was saying, Celtics, and this is what annoys me and frustrates me. And I tweeted this and it did pretty well. The narrative's going to quickly switch from, oh, Brooklyn's probably going to win or has a really good chance to win because of their stars, blah, 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 to, oh, Boston was the 2nd seed. They did what they were supposed to do, which is bullshit.
I saw it today, Jack. You were the first person I thought of. I saw a tweet from a Milwaukee Bucks fan. Why are the Celtics celebrating they beat a playing team?
Dude's a clown.
You saw it?
He's the same guy who goes, oh, the Celtics benched their starters against the Bucks to avoid the Nets. Yeah, and then the Bucks benched their entire lineup for the last game of the season to drop to the 3 seed. You're like, that's just, and I don't even care about like the whole benching thing, like whatever. If you want to do it, that's fine. I don't really like it's a part of the game, I guess, kind of, if you want to manipulate the standings. But as everyone in the basketball landscape says, the basketball gods will come down and strike you if you do something that is deemed unacceptable. And clearly the Celtics were rewarded for not running from everybody, because they've easily could have also benched their guys in that Grizzlies game to avoid the Nets. At the same time, the same people are going to be like, oh, well, they didn't want to risk the Raptors because of blah, blah, blah. At this point, none of that fucking matters.
It doesn't matter.
None of it. None of it matters. The Celtics and the Bucks, the Bucks dropped 1 game to the Bulls. Personally, I think that was
that's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen again.
Horrible. That team sucks.
Chicago,
they lost a game to them.
Yeah, and it is what it is. I mean, they have, I'll put it this way. I don't want to say you know what I'll say. I'm surprised the Celtics swept the Nets. I think they deserve to with the way they played, but I don't think obviously neither of us went into it. The last time we recorded was the preview before this whole series, which is crazy because I was away. But we were saying you said 7, I said 6, and you were shocked that I said 6. That tells you how close people projected this series to be. And obviously, people were saying, "Oh, the Bucks are going to sweep the Bulls." The the Bulls have good players too, so I'm not surprised they took a
They have
game.
some alright players. DeRozan
They're
was good this season.
good enough to.
I'm still hanging my hat on Levine is not good. Who speaking of the devil has just went into COVID protocols. Just
Oh,
now.
really?
Yep. Shem
When?
just tweeted it. Just now. He just put it
Oh,
out.
19 seconds ago. All right,
Like
well,
literally the thing came up on my iPad screen.
if that wasn't enough for you. My point is they have enough decent players to win you a playoff game, especially considering it was the game Middleton got hurt in. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like there are other factors. It is what it is. I don't take too much stock in it. I think the Bulls are going to win out here. Um, So then it'll be Celtics Bucks, but I don't even remember where my point started. The Bucks fans on Twitter. Who cares? Like, stop. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. The Celtics took care of business against the Nets. Um, my point is, I hate the narrative in the NBA media. It doesn't make any sense because it's one of two things right now. It's either the Celtics should have won because they were this higher seed, whatever, which is I'm actually not seeing that much. Or the Nets sucked. There's no like positive Celtics talks. It's all negative Nets talk. It's all like, oh, KD flopped, Kyrie did this. What's gonna happen with Steve Nash? Is this one of the most disappointing teams? And only like 2 times I've heard people say, okay, let's actually, flip to the other side and give the Celtics credit. It's none of that. It's all like, oh, KD is stopping himself. This is this. The only person I heard give the Celtics credit was Perk, and of course he's going to give the Celtics credit because he's Perk and he was on this. Like,
He owes
it's
them after
crazy.
some of the things he said earlier this season. He has to be
He
on the
does.
train.
He's trying to dig himself out of a massive hole, but I don't know, man.
We can get into it. I'll start. I'll talk about some things that really impressed me. If you want to talk about being impressed, one big question mark I had coming into the playoffs in general, not even just this series, was all right, the Celtics were excellent over the last 3 months. One thing they didn't do is close
Yep.
games. They
Yep.
won 4 close games in this series
Against
against two great closers.
against a good team. I know they swept and they looked dismantled, but that was like the team everybody did not want to play in the first round of the
Game
playoffs.
exactly. Game 1, they win at the buzzer. They hold off a comeback. Game 2, they make a comeback of their own, 17 down, and then they have to pull it out in the clutch. They allowed like no points through the first 10 minutes of the fourth quarter. It was insane. Being at that game was something else. That was the best game I've ever been to. It
That's
eclipses
very sick.
everything.
You were at game 2?
I was
Or
at
game
game
1?
2.
Yes, okay, okay.
It was excellent. Me and my dad went. uh, Sat up in the balcony, the second row. The balcony is fun. We have had this discussion before. Jack loves the balcony. I typically
Yes, we
do not.
have.
I will say if you come out of the tunnel for the balcony and you don't have to turn around and go up, it is acceptable. Once you start going up, I'd rather watch on TV.
That's where you draw the line.
Yeah. But
Gotcha.
anyways, that was excellent. Game 3, the Celtics kind of just dominated that whole game. They took every punch Brooklyn had and they responded to it. They didn't panic when Brooklyn would make a run. I mean, Blake Griffin was making shots, which was ridiculous in its own right, and they didn't freak out. They
That was
let
crazy,
the
huh?
the flame run out on that one. Yeah,
How
and then
crazy
they
was that?
closed it out. And then yesterday in game 4, that was a game they were up big. They kind of let the lead go, shot some threes early in the fourth quarter, didn't make the best decisions. Tatum fouls out, and they still closed the game
We
without
need to
their
talk
best
about that too.
closer. We can get into that, but before we do, Jaylen Brown was excellent in every fourth quarter in this
Phenomenal.
series. He was
Phenomenal.
excellent in game 2, excellent in game 3, cooked Blake Griffin, hit some huge shots. And then yesterday in game 4, he had to be the closer because Tatum was in foul trouble and then eventually fouled out. That's
Mhm.
huge for the Celtics.
That foul out, by the way, was horrendous.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was and
It was
that's
ridiculous.
it's one of the few things I've seen the entire media agree with. Like, no one thought that was a foul. That was just a terrible, terrible call, and it wasn't even Foster, was it? It was
No, it was
some other
not.
ref. It was
It was not
anyways.
Scott Foster. The fifth foul
Briefly,
was bad too.
yeah,
The
he
one
got
that they
screwed on a couple
challenged and
ones.
then they didn't even overturn it. It was bad.
Mhm. Yeah, he got screwed on a couple ones. Before we go any further, there was somebody on Twitter. This is totally off topic and a tangent. Somebody on Twitter messaged us, or maybe it was a YouTube comment, that I sniffle too much. Do you remember seeing that on Twitter, like saying Jack's
No.
nose was your
Oh,
anyways,
yes, yes, I do. I do
I
remember
now
that.
have allergy nasal mist, so I will be
Excellent.
attempting to sniff less for you listeners, so I'm thinking of you, but
Jack
apologies if it doesn't kick
Jack
in right
has
away.
tried to cure his sniffles.
Anyways, um, yeah, I mean, the Celtics did everything they needed to do in that series, and people are gonna say, "Oh, there were 4 close games, blah, blah, blah," like, the narrative has shifted on the Celtics, and I think people are gonna start taking them seriously. Jason Tatum is the best two-way player in the NBA. I think there's you can argue Giannis easily. I think you can argue if he's playing like he has this series, you can make an argument for Jimmy Butler. I think, but from a pure offense defense perspective, with what he showed against against Kevin Durant this series, I don't think I would take anybody else in the NBA over Jason Tatum from the perspective of a two-way player, and I think he's bordering on that top 10 player in the NBA category. I don't want to necessarily make that
Oh,
bold
he has
statement
to be
yet,
in the
but
top 10. He has to be in the top 10.
mm,
Who's better than him?
okay, I mean, we
Who's
can
your
go down
10
the
better
rabbit
than
hole.
him?
I think
And
it's
I
close.
personally, before we get into this, I don't really like the ranking. I like the pyramid thing. I don't
Yes, the
like
tiers. I like the
this
tier
guy's
list as
better
well.
than this guy, and I mean that's day to day for me. But at least right now, who's playing in the playoffs? Well, don't even say that. Out of just right now, he's probably top 10. He was excellent that first round. He outplayed
In
Durant.
the
He guarded him on both. He played great two ways, just like you said. He might be the best two-way guy in the league. If you're the best two-way player in the league, I'm not sure you can't be top 10.
well, I was talking the grand scheme of things. I think in the playoffs right now, he's a top 3 player. Right now, this season in these playoffs, Jason Tatum's a top 3 player, and damn, he might be number 1. Like, realistically speaking, I think the only one who could edge him is unfortunately the person he's gonna have to face in the next round of the playoffs. But I was talking grand scheme NBA, like, you know what I'm saying? Like those
Mm,
preseason lists you see that are okay, here's our tiers, blah, blah, blah. And if you want me to go down that list, I mean, I think Jokic is up there. I think, and this is not in an order. I'm not putting anybody in order, but I'll give you, I don't know. I'll start naming players. Can you help me count here?
yep.
Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, Luca, KD still. I
I
know, but
I I agree with that. KD is still
KD
excellent to
still.
me.
I think Steph is up there.
Mm,
I think I need to pull up. You ever look up NBA standings to remind yourself of players?
no, because I don't really
Um,
talk about anyone that's not in the Celtics.
fair enough. I think you could put LeBron. He's up there. I know, but he's still in there. Come on.
He's enjoying from the
Um,
couch.
he is this year.
Tweeting
Uh,
before we continue, he shouldn't be allowed to tweet. Like, he just tweets stupid things, like
I
saying,
like
like,
it. It's
"Hey,
kind of
we're gonna be
entertaining.
good next year. Hey, keep talking about my squad. Hey, this, that." Like, just stop. Stop. You're making, like, an easy target. Alright, continue. It's 7.
That's 7. I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe you're right. I'm struggling. Like, I'm definitely
Did you
forgetting
say
players.
Embiid?
'Cause I did say Embiid. I said
Did
Embiid,
you say
Jokic,
Giannis?
Giannis, KD, Steph, LeBron, Luca. I had those 7.
Okay.
And then
Yeah,
I
I
guess
mean,
you throw
I'm
Tatum
not really
next, like,
convinced anybody else is better than he is.
well, I think he's probably in the tier with Luca and LeBron right there at the end of that list right now. And Steph. Steph was 8, I think. Steph would make 8. I don't think I said him either. Um, I think you throw Steph in there, and I think, like you said, you don't really like the rankings list. You do the tiers, and I think Tatum's in that tier, and you could probably throw maybe like Devin Booker in there as well,
Yeah.
and Chris Paul of the Suns, and maybe Ja. And at that point, we're talking about the maybes and oh well, what about DeMar DeRozan or this person after the season they had? You know what I'm saying? That's where it starts to get a little gray area. But I think at this point, he's probably around the 8 to 12 range of NBA players. And definitely in the playoffs, like I said, I think he's top 3. And if he's not 3, he's not 2, he's not, you know what I'm saying, not 1. Like there
Yeah.
doesn't really get much better. I think the best player currently still left in the NBA playoffs this year um, are Giannis, Jason Tatum, and Luca. I think those are the 3 best players in the playoffs. There are better teams. There are better team compositions. Like this isn't a knock on the Warriors. I think they're
Mm.
probably still the team to beat out West. Um, But I think individual players, those 3 are the top 3, and I think the Celtics have the best team built around their superstar, followed closely, by the other 2.
Yeah, I think that Milwaukee team is. I mean, you can't forget they won last year. Middleton, which we can get into, was probably going to be out for at least a couple games in this second round. Kind of, if you're Milwaukee, like, do you want to like
You wanna
sell Game
lose.
5? Yeah,
I was gonna say, maybe you lose.
yeah, but I mean, I don't think they're going to lose.
No, no, I don't think so either.
But they're going to be a tougher team to cover than Brooklyn was
Oh, a million
because
percent.
everybody can shoot on that team, which is good team construction by their
Up and
front
down the
office.
roster. Drew
Yes,
Holiday shooting lights out, Grayson Allen shooting lights out, Brook
can't
Lopez
wait
can
to see
shoot.
Brooke Lopez play in slow motion. I gotta say, um, Horford was excellent in the first round.
Oh, he's
I'm
so
not
good.
convinced he's going to be able to give you that same offensive production in the second round,
Consistently.
just because he's going to have to use so much energy to cover Giannis. I
Do you
think
think
he
he
was great.
covers
He made
Giannis?
some. Oh yeah, who else are they going to put? Tatum,
Mhm.
maybe.
I don't think, but see, I think that's the beauty of the Celtics defense though,
That's
because I
also
don't
true.
think
Yeah, I know where
I
you're
don't think
going.
Horford's gonna yeah, because Horford's not gonna have to guard Giannis like he did under Brad Stevens, and this isn't a knock on Brad Stevens, he's a great coach. Horford is going to get the prime not the primary, the majority of minutes on Giannis. Like when you look at the stats at the end of the series, he's going to have the most minutes logged guarding Giannis. But there's going to be Marcus switching onto him. There's going to be Grant switching onto him. There's going to be Tatum. There's going to be Brown. Like everyone's going to rotate in, and they're definitely not going to guard him one on one. There's no shot they guard him one on one. You saw how they guarded Kevin Durant. That's going to be just how they guard Giannis. Instead of double teaming on the perimeter, as soon as he touches inside the 3 point arc, sending a double team immediately. Immediately. And that's going to make life a lot harder. Actually, you know what? It might not make life harder because the Nets shot like the Bucks in that series. Bruce
They
Brown,
did.
Goran Dragic, like
Dra- I
they're making their
hate
shots.
Dragic. That guy can rot. First of all, I don't like that he like quit on the Raptors and said, "Hey, I'm not going to play here." And then, first of all, Toronto's like farther in the playoffs than they are. They've won 2 games. Brooklyn did
Yeah,
not. That guy sucks. I cannot stand that guy. He's an
he
excellent
doesn't
player,
miss.
which is why I don't
Yeah.
like him, and he plays really well against the Celtics. But I hate when guys are like, "Hey, I don't want to play on this team anymore. Buy me out."
Mhm.
If I'm the
Yeah.
Raptors, well, they traded him. They traded him to be fair. Um, well, if
Did
I'm the
they? Oh,
Raptors,
they
I
did.
wouldn't.
They did.
I would not have bought him out, which they didn't.
Well,
Good for them.
realistically speaking, I don't think he would have gotten many minutes in Nick Nurse's current system, anyways, which is it is what it is. Like it's not the end of the world. They ended up getting what did they get for him? Was that the Thad Young trade?
Thad Young.
Okay. That's a pretty good trade for them. I mean, Thad Young's playing minutes, but anyways, regardless, he was annoying. Bruce Brown looked phenomenal. He's gonna get paid this offseason if he
I
would
wonder
like
how
to.
much he's going to get paid because
You
I
want my
think if
guess?
you can give me your guess, and I'll say like if a team would be dumb to give him that much money.
I think 8 to 10.
No, I think that's appropriate.
Full
And
MLE, I think,
if
yeah.
that's what it is, I would really like to have the Celtics go get him. I think he'd be excellent.
I
He
don't
can
know if
shoot
they
from
can
the
do that.
corner.
I think
He's
that just prices them out.
smart on the ball.
Yeah.
He's a good defender. He
Mhm.
fits really well on the Celtics, and he's from the area. So I like Bruce Brown. I think he played an excellent series for the Nets. It would be interesting to see him join the home team.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Celtics will probably end up getting priced out. I think somebody probably will overpay for Bruce Brown, try to give him that bigger role, whether or not he can take it on. We'll see. I would say probably not,
No, I
but
don't. I think you're stupid if you're paying him like
mhm,
significant
15.
money. Yeah, like that's a
Mhm.
lot of money for him, and he's not a bad player, but he's not gonna like carry your
He should get
team
Grant
unless.
Williams money. That's
Yeah.
what he should get. I think
Well,
and that's another topic of conversation this summer. Grant Williams needs to be extended. How much is the price for him? Other teams probably could say, "Okay, Grant, we'll give you a bigger role here. You come over, we'll give you this, blah blah
they'll
blah." I think
extend him.
like, I hope so,
They're
but
gonna
if
extend him. He's been
my
excellent. You can't not
no, no, no,
extend him.
it's not a matter of the Celtics not being willing to extend him. It's the matter of will Grant want more than they're willing or able to pay him,
Is he a
which
restricted free agent this summer? No.
no, he's got another year of
Yeah,
team
so he's
control,
not
but
negotiating with anybody except the Celtics.
I know, I was just thinking long term because if I'm Grant, I say I don't want an extension right now.
If I don't know, if I'm Grant, I think you're a pretty good system player on this team.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you've shown you can be that, there's a chance you can be something else. It is what it is. It's all about money at the end of the day. And hell, if the Celtics win a championship, maybe he doesn't want to leave. And we don't have to talk about that just yet, but that is coming as well. Who haven't we talked about yet? Daniel Tice has been great. I mean, he's done what he's needed to do.
He's been the perfect Rob replacement. He was an
Mhm.
excellent pickup at the deadline. Us and Tim, we were perfectly enthusiastic about that move when it was done. Awesome. He's been great. He's just athletic enough to kind of give you that same energy. He can shoot a little bit, made a couple big shots in this series, and he's made it so Rob doesn't feel a lot of pressure to come back. Even those games where Rob was back, he
Yep.
didn't really have to be expected to do all these things. Like if he was out there and he was rusty, it's like, okay, he can go back to the bench. He got his run in, he got some practice. Tice can go back out there and compete.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And Rob looked fine when he returned. I think it'll take him a little bit to get fully back up to speed. Like he didn't look bad by any means, but you could tell that it was still a little bit of rust there. Um, I just think they played a great team basketball. Derek White's, I see a lot of people not dumping on Derek White, but he doesn't really pop off in the box score. That's not the point of Derek White, though. Like, you don't need him to put up these 17-point games. You don't need him to hell, you don't even need him to average 10 points. You just need him to be able to go out there and play good defense, which he did. He played good defense when he needed to. He made plays when he needed to, and hell, he had a couple drives for clutch buckets just like he needed to. And when you need a bucket, you put in Peyton Pritchard, which he also showed because Peyton Pritchard was phenomenal in that series. And that core group of 9 guys now with Rob back is what you're running with. I don't think you see another player step foot on the floor for the rest of the playoffs outside of a blowout or a knock on wood injury. I'm not even going to talk about that, but
Yeah, I mean, you really shouldn't. Derek White, by the way, was very good in game 4 all
mhm,
around. He had a good offensive game, good defensive game. He's pretty good. I mean, he did a decent job on KD throughout the whole series. He was
mhm,
always up in his airspace, giving him a hard time. And of course, Pritchard was excellent. Guy was an automatic basket off the bench. You could trust him. He was creating his own shots. He made the go ahead basket in game 2 off the ridiculous step back. Curry was on him, I think.
mhm.
And
We haven't even talked about the most important player in the series yet, though.
go ahead.
My man, Nicholas Claxton. I mean, it's just I like Nick Claxton. You know, I like Nick Claxton, but oh, oh my god, just homie. I saw this on you. You know what you need to work on, and at least it's very clear what you
Yeah.
need to work on this summer. He broke Shaquille O'Neal's record of most free throws attempted without a make to start a playoff game. He, what did he shoot from the free throw line in the playoffs this year?
4 of 20 something.
He
I will
shot
say, I mean, you starting that off sounded like it was pretty good for Claxton. You said, "Oh, he broke Shaq's record," and then you realize what it was for. That's when it goes downhill.
4 of 22 in the
It's
playoffs. He
it's
shot.
pretty remarkable when like I can sit here and say, "Wow, I could have did a better job than him
Yeah, that's
at
when you know.
that." Like
At that specific
it is
thing, yes.
always remarkable to me that these guys in the NBA can't shoot free throws. Some of them.
Yeah,
Why?
I don't know, because they
It's
don't shoot.
easy. I
Because they
can
don't
do
have to
it. You
shoot.
can
I
do it.
know,
You can shoot
I
free
know.
throws. It's easy.
Well, I
I
can
don't know.
try to
Maybe you
shoot free
can't. I
throws.
shouldn't
I'm
put that
not
much
great.
pressure on you, but I can do it. I can sure
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it.
You can make the claim for yourself. I'm not gonna embarrass myself if
I
anybody ever
just
wants to put a ball in my hands.
how do you not I mean, let's not act like Nick Claxton's like practicing spin fadeaways like Tatum. Like he's got a very simple offensive thing he needs to do. Finish around the basket. After
Mhm.
that, go to the free throw line. If your primary game is inside, which his is, and he was actually really good inside throughout the
He was
series,
really good. Yes.
you should be shooting free throws because you're going to get fouled if you're playing inside.
Mhm.
Why? Like, I mean, more power to him. He was really good in this series. He earned a lot of minutes in game 4. Drummond didn't even sniff the floor after the first stint he had. I mean, that's bad. I mean, he lost them the game yesterday. If you really want to like say, here's like the
Well,
clearest
yeah.
cut thing they could have done differently and added some free points. I mean, he shoots what 58% for the season. He shot 9% yesterday. I mean,
18% on the series.
18% for the series. there's a lot of close games in this series. If he makes his season average, they might have won a couple games.
Mhm. Not great, not great. But in all seriousness, where I was gonna go before I thought of that joke in my head, the most important person in the series was Ime Udoka. Ime Udoka coached circles around Steve Nash, and Steve Nash brought it together in the last whatever games. And there's only so much you can do when KD and Kyrie aren't playing like KD and Kyrie. And I'm not saying the Celtics don't get credit; the Celtics get credit for stopping them, but Ime Udoka coached just almost a perfect series. Well, actually, not almost, a perfect series. They swept them. He
Yeah.
coached a perfect series. You put in the correct defensive game plans to stop the Stars. You let Jayson Tatum work on Kevin Durant. You drew up the right plays when you needed to, draw up the right play. It was beautiful. Like you couldn't have asked for much more from Ime Udoka throughout the series. It was incredible. The only thing you could ask from him is yelling at Marcus Smart for taking that layup, in the in the last 20 seconds of the game, in game 4, but
Marcus, I think he wanted the celebration again with the left. He wanted to look at the hand
he
again.
was
But I
greedy.
also think he knew that should that not go in, Horford was with him, and there really wasn't anybody else there. I may sound stupid like a homer saying that, but I don't know. I think he's not dumb. He knew he had to know Horford was in
Mhm.
the area running with him.
Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted for a sec. Greeny put out a tweet that said, um, apologizing for my worst take in Barstool history, and he goes, "I apologize for thinking that the Nets could win 2 games in the first round in the playoffs." It's still so crazy that it's a sweep, right? Like, I know the Celtics played great and they deserve all the praise, but, like, I don't think you could find a single I saw one thing on Twitter that's predicted the sweep, and they're, reaping the rewards today. But nobody in the national media predicted a sweep. Nobody we talked to personally predicted a sweep. Hell, some people thought it would go 7. I thought it
I
would go
did.
6.
I said
I
it would
thought
go
y
7.
I know you did, and I thought I would go 6, and I was, like, gasped at for, like, thinking the Nets wouldn't take it 7. It's crazy how well the Celtics played, and I'm not gonna say how poorly the Nets played because the Nets shot 40% from behind the three-point line and 50% from the field and got swept. 4-0 swept by the Celtics. Swept. Like, baffling levels of, like, play. It's just I'm still, like, at a loss for words. I don't know if you can tell this entire podcast, but, like, it's incredible how well the Celtics played and how they managed to pull this off. It's just like, Jason Tatum's a superstar, and Jaylen Brown's the perfect co-star. Um, that pairing has not lost a first round playoff game in 3 years.
Mm, that's the
4
last team
years,
to beat them
4
in the first
years.
round, Milwaukee.
Mhm. Yes. Funnily enough, unfortunately, but since they've been all-stars, since, X amount of time has passed, they haven't lost a first round game, and I can't imagine being one of the people that was saying split them up. And I had my moments of slight doubt saying, "Okay, like, what's going on here?" I think everybody did when they were, at the midway point of the season. All gone, all erased.
Anybody that was saying to split them up was stupid. And I was on that hard dying on that hill even when they were playing bad. I didn't think it was great they were playing bad, but I was saying if you're splitting them up, you have to be the dumbest person. I mean, there's nothing you could have gotten back for either of those guys that would have
Mhm.
been worth it. I'm sorry. Like there's not. And they're proving that you don't need to split them up. They're playing excellent together. They have figured out how to play together where nothing seems forced. Guys are finding their opportunity to cook at the appropriate times. Again, Jaylen Brown, excellent in the fourth quarters throughout this series. He's a big reason why they won. That game, too, he sparked a run himself. Tatum had a 8-0 run on his own in that game, too, in the fourth quarter. Like, they picked their spots perfectly. And I can't stress enough how great Jaylen Brown was in Brooklyn because I'm not convinced they win either of those games without him making big
No
shots
way.
down the stretch. I mean, he took Blake Griffin to school in that game 3 when Blake Griffin was playing confidently on offense. And of course, Tatum again fouls out in game 4. And Brown says, "All right, Brooklyn just cut it to 3. All right, I'll come down. take a jumper at the foul line, get fouled, make the free throw, come down again, make the basket to put the Celtics back up 3 on the baseline. I mean, he was fantastic, and people really aren't talking about him as much because Tatum was also fantastic throughout the series,
Yeah.
especially guarding Durant. But man, Jaylen Brown was a huge part. And so was Marcus. Marcus made some huge plays, especially yesterday. He had the tip in, he had the offensive foul he drew on Durant. He made the free throws at the end of the game. He was great throughout the whole series. He had a double double yesterday. Marcus has been fantastic as a starting point guard on this team. And there were people that significantly doubted that he was able to do that. I don't remember if you thought he'd be good or not, but I know I certainly did.
As a
Probably thought he'd
point
be
guard?
way better. Yeah.
Who do you think I am? What do you think this
No,
is?
that, like, you thought he would be, like, really successful. I
I
mean,
thought he'd
listen, nobody
I
was
don't
more confident than me, Jack, saying
This is
he
true.
might be an all-star.
This is true. And I don't think anybody projected defensive player of the year either, which was
No. Nope.
incredible. But yeah, man, the Celtics they've figured it out. They have it. They know the formula, and all that's left to do is continue on. And I don't think you'll see a real I don't know the way to phrase this. I don't think you'll see the Celtics be challenged until they are challenged, if that makes any sense. I know that sounds so redundant, but you won't see them. This is what I'm trying to say. They won't make adjustments until they have to. This is how they're going to play until a
They're
team manages to beat them. You know what I'm
they're
saying?
going to
Like
have to make
until
adjustments. They're going to.
no, no, no.
They
They can't
can't
play this.
swarm Giannis the way they swarmed KD this series because
Why?
Milwaukee has better shooters than Brooklyn does. Everybody on that team can shoot. You don't have a Nick Claxton out there that can't shoot threes. It's going to make it more difficult for you to clog the paint on the guys driving. You're going to have to be much better on the offensive glass. There were so many times Brooklyn got
That was
offensive
bad.
rebounds, and it was ridiculous. That was an Achilles heel for the Celtics throughout the early part of the season, and it's something you should be a little concerned about. I think Rob coming back is going to help that. How athletic he is on the glass, it's going to be a little bit easier for them to finish out defensive possessions. But there was a lot of times that they could have squashed Brooklyn and really blown them out in some of these games. And Brooklyn got big momentum baskets, like on
Mhm.
second chance points. There was a playing game too that at the time it happened was a backbreaker. Dragic throws that prayer three up, and then they get the rebound and make a three.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I agree the rebounding is difficult, but I do think they should guard Giannis this very similarly to the way they guarded Durant. Because I know you say, like and you're right that Milwaukee is better shooters than Brooklyn, but Brooklyn shooters still shot, like,
They did.
40% in
They
that
did. They
series,
shot ridiculously well.
and not only that, but Brooklyn as a whole shot 40%, and that's accounting for KD's and Kyrie's terrible three-point shooting percentages in the series, right? Like, Dragic didn't miss, Bruce Brown didn't miss, hell, Blake Griffin didn't miss, from beyond the three-point line. So, Seth Curry was incredible. I didn't
Mm.
see much from Patty Mills, but, I mean,
Patty Mills
he
didn't miss much when he was in the game. He just wasn't in the
exactly.
game very much.
Exactly, and I think that's more of a problem with, Brooklyn's roster, but if I'm the Celtics, I let anybody else on that Bucks team kill me but Giannis. I think and I know that hasn't worked in the past. We remember the Trae Young game. KD and Kyrie each put up their points, but we've seen what happens when you let everybody else kill you but one person, and it is Kyrie in game 1, and it is KD last night as we're recording this in game 4, and the Celtics can win those games. And obviously the Bucks are a much better defensive team than the Nets are. They have better defenders to stick on Tatum and the better defenders stick on Brown and better coach as much as I don't love Bud, but he's better than Steve Nash, I would say. Like you still guard Giannis that way, in my opinion. And this I'm not I'm not a coach in the NBA for a reason, and Ime Udoka is, but if I'm them, I still swarm Giannis. I put Al on him. I send help with Tatum. I let Grant do his work as well. All this stuff. It's just I think you do that style of defense until it doesn't work, and then you go from there and figure it out because the playoffs are a different beast. And I don't know. I'm curious to see how this team reacts to a loss. Which hey, maybe they go 16-0. Maybe they don't
It's
have to.
true.
But
That is a
yeah,
big thing. That 2019 team came out and won the first 5, lost the next 4. We're done right after
yep.
Milwaukee. Ironically enough, same team, seeing you in the second round. But one thing that is very important for the Celtics is okay, say this series tips off whenever the weekend, whatever. You got to come out and win your home games. You have to win these games at home. You have to take advantage if Middleton's not playing because he's going to play. He's going to be back. He's going to
He
be
will.
a Celtic killer as he has in the past. You have to take
Yep.
advantage of when he's not there. So these first few games of the series are going to be very stressful
Mhm.
as a fan to watch because they might be worth more than just a game.
So was last series, though. Last series was
It
very
was. I
stressful
was
too.
stressed last night watching that
The
game
whole
4. I was like,
series.
"Oh boy, if they lose this, KD might remember how to play basketball and really be a problem." You can't let it. I mean, just look, Philly. They have to play Game 6 now.
Mhm. This is what I was gonna say. Um, is there anything else you want to talk about the Celtics? Because I wanted to touch on some other series as well.
I would like to talk about Ben Simmons.
God, why?
'Cause he's such a clown. That was hilarious, and just look at the absolute, duality of I guess you could say duality of man. The way the Celtics handled Rob Williams' return, which was real, and the way the Nets handled Ben Simmons' return, which didn't exist. So, before the
Well,
series
it
even
wasn't the
started,
Nets' fault. It's his fault. I wouldn't blame the
it's
Nets.
everyone involved's fault.
Well, did you see what happened? I assume you saw what happened. It's like he told them he would play, and then he woke up the day after game 3 and told them he wasn't gonna play, and the report said the Nets were shocked and disappointed. So, from my perspective, that sounds like Ben Simmons saw his team go down 3-0, decided he didn't wanna play, and then told the team, "Yeah, actually, I'm not gonna play, sorry."
Even then, both sides, he's a part of the Nets. Simmons is a part of the Nets.
Alright, alright.
You are getting tweets from Shams, Woj, before this series even starts. Ben Simmons, this is before the play-in. Ben Simmons
Yeah.
likely won't play in the play-in. He's going to play in the first round. He plans to return in the first round. All right, fine. Series gets closer. Ben Simmons likely will not be back for game 1, but could target later games in the series. Then it goes to games 4, 5, and 6 that he's planning to be back. Then the reports come out, hey, Ben Simmons is going to play in game 4. And then the Celtics go up 3-0. He's like, hey, I'm not going to play. And then he doesn't even show up to the arena for game 4. Not
That
only
was
does he
bad.
not play, he
That was
doesn't
bad.
show up. He doesn't go watch. He's not even in the locker room. All right. He is such a clown. He said, hey, Philly was mean to me, so I'm not playing anymore. And then he said, ow, my back. I how did he hurt his back? From doing what? Sitting? He wasn't doing much. What is he
They
doing?
I don't know. They said it was a nagging injury from his time in Philly. I've
Nagging
got no
injury for
explanation
what?
for
Playing
you.
Xbox?
I have no explanation for you.
Going shopping for the newest drip that he can wear on the
He had
sidelines?
he had herniated discs in his back.
Imagine if the Celtics panicked and traded for that guy. Imagine if he was sitting there watching the Celtics lose, just
Yep.
sitting there in his stupid sunglasses and his stupid outfit. I mean, that guy, if I'm a Nets fan and if I'm a player on that team, I'm furious. I'm
Yeah.
furious. You gave up James
Sounds like they
Harden
are.
for that guy.
Well, well, w
What do you mean? Well, they gave up Harden. He's not on the team anymore, and they got
let's
Simmons
not
back.
I
You
know,
could
but
have
let's not.
traded Harden somewhere else and got something
Okay,
that
yes.
actually played back.
Yes, that is true. I'll give you
You
that.
didn't
I was
have
gonna
to trade him to Philly. You could have traded him anywhere.
mhm.
There was nothing in his contract that said he had to go to Philly.
I
Simmons royally screwed them. These guys were planning on having him back. If Simmons played in this series, things would have been a little easier on KD because he wouldn't have had to chase guys around defensively. Simmons would have been the guy guarding Tatum and picking up the top scorer on the other end. KD expending energy on both ends. I mean, my gosh. And then he's got that stupid outfit on with the sunglasses in game 3,
that was funny.
which is
That
hilarious.
was
I mean,
funny.
he's photoshopped in all these moments throughout history, just standing there
Mhm,
looking like he doesn't have a care in the world. Oh, imagine if the Celtics traded for him and how everybody
mhm.
would be feeling about that.
I will say I don't think the James Harden thing was how do I say this? I'm not very good with words today. I think James Harden tied the Nets' hands a little bit because he very clearly said he wanted to go there, which it is what it is. And I know, like, realistically speaking, like the Nets could have traded him anywhere, but other teams seeing that probably would have been like, all right, like, we're not going to give you a very hefty price for half a season of James Harden, right? Because he's just going to leave in the offseason. So that kind of tied their hands. Like, what are you gonna get more than Ben Simmons plus Seth Curry plus Andre Drummond plus picks from another team, like, out there, like, what? You're gonna get like, I don't even know what else there would have been out there for James
I
Harden,
don't know. I
in
don't
that
know
trade
what like the
market.
rumors were. Feel like Atlanta could have been a team that could have gave them stuff.
John Collins.
John Collins,
I
Bogdanovich.
don't even
Like
know if I would have done
I
that if
don't.
I was Atlanta, right? Regardless, it doesn't matter. The
He
point is
would
he
have
tied
loved
their hands,
Atlanta. They
but
have all the strip clubs.
he would have loved Atlanta. Maybe he would have stayed, but
Him and Lou
yeah, Ben
Williams.
Simmons Ben Simmons didn't play. Not gonna play till October. Um,
We'll see. I'm not convinced he ever plays for the Nets.
who plays first, Ben Simmons or Zion Williamson?
That's tough. Zion is kind of in the same boat as Simmons though. Like they're posting videos of him doing like between the legs dunks pregame, but he's not playing in a close series.
I see
What?
that. I think the difference between the two is I've seen reports that Zion and the team have differentiating opinions on whether or not he's ready. I don't know whether it's
I
Zion
wonder
saying
whose
he's not
opinion.
ready.
Yeah,
Exactly. So that's what we don't know. I feel like with the Ben Simmons thing, though, we all know it's just him saying he's not ready. You know what I'm saying? I
yeah.
feel like that's the
No, it
difference between
definitely
these two.
is. He's just such a clown, Simmons.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
It
that guy's it was hilarious. I think I sent the message to you guys when I went to game 2. Me and my dad got there like we went in when the gates opened. And
yeah.
we're sitting watching like warm-ups. Simmons is out there like he's an assistant coach rebounding for guys. He's literally like one of
Oh,
those dudes
man.
that's like when the players are warming up, there's like usually like 2 or 3 coaches involved in the rebounding and passing. He's part of the unit that's like, all right, I'm gonna throw the pass to Patty Mills while he shoots around. Like it was just like I was like, is this real? Like, don't you think if you were coming back to play basketball, you would be doing like things for you when you're pregame? Maybe
I
the
don't know.
Nets were just trying to like play mind games with Simmons.
Scare the
The
Celtics.
the best was Ime Udoka was like, "Yeah, we don't care if he plays. Like, go ahead, let him play." He
I
said
love Ime,
that.
man.
He
I
said
love
that
Ime.
long-windedly. He said, like, "Yeah, all right, fine, let him play."
I love Ime. He's
I
great,
do
and the
too. He's
players love him too.
awesome.
Mhm,
Yesterday, he's saying, "We're not scared of anybody." That's awesome. That
mhm.
rules, and he can say that now. Like, they didn't
Exactly,
duck Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Milwaukee did, and they swept Brooklyn. And
Mhm,
Milwaukee lost a game to Chicago so far. They could lose again. Who knows? They
mhm.
probably
Well,
won't,
yeah.
but they
But
could.
yeah, they could, you never know.
That's an extra game they have to play.
That it is, and speaking of that, I did wanna talk about, the rest of the postseason
Sure.
with the rest of our show. We can start there. I don't think Milwaukee loses again. I
No,
think
I
they
don't think
they
so
take
either.
care of business tonight as we're recording this, and you guys will know when you're listening to this
No,
tomorrow.
it's tomorrow.
The game's not tonight?
No, it's Wednesday.
Okay, what games are tonight?
Minnesota, I'd imagine Miami, and
Mhm.
probably Golden State. I hope it's
Phoenix?
Phoenix. It's Phoenix
It's
tonight?
Phoenix tonight.
All
Mhm.
right, that one's more interesting.
Okay, so do we think Miami finishes it out tonight? You guys
Yes.
will know the results by
See
the
you
time we
later.
talk about this one.
Atlanta, see you later. Trey Young has
Mhm.
not done anything. See you
Impressive he took
later.
a game. I
And
mean,
Butler has been excellent, which is not good for the
Butler's been great.
Celtics.
No, not at all. Memphis, Minnesota tied 2-2. What are we
I think
thinking there?
Memphis needs to show us something. You need to show us something. I mean, Minnesota could be up 3-1 right now if they didn't choke away game 3.
I told you Minnesota was real. I'm not okay, let me stop, pause.
Well, I don't
I
remember what
told
I
you this would
said.
be a good series.
You
I'll
have
break
you have
out
the
I'll break
iPad?
it out.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
check in on the picks while we go through this. Why don't we?
oh, the iPad's over there. That's such a shame. I'll be right back. Talk
All
to the
right.
people for a second.
Well, I'm lagging. So if you can hear me, Jack's frozen on my screen. It's loading.
Unfortunate time
Excellent.
for Sam's lags, but I've got the iPad, so we're good to go.
There we go.
Only a brief intermission there for the listeners at home.
You
Uh,
got that premium Verizon internet.
we made our picks, funnily enough, on the last show we did because I've been gone for so long.
Yes.
So let me get my feet back up and pull this up on the iPad real quick. All right. I believe, though, if I remember, you said Memphis in 5 or 6. I think that was the guess.
I
I
might have
think I
said
said something
6.
similar. Let's take a look. Sam's Western Conference. You said Memphis in 6, so that's still possible.
There you go.
They win these next 2.
I think
You
Ja's
said
really good, and I think Towns is so annoying. That guy's so annoying, man.
he's I think Towns is fine. I don't have a problem with Towns. You said Boston in 7. I said Boston in 6.
Well, you were closer.
Um,
There you go.
barely. I think we were both a little short on not short on confidence, but respect to KD and Kyrie, which evidently they didn't deserve as much. Um, you said Miami in 6. I said Miami in 5. Both are still possible.
Everything coming
We
up,
shall see.
Jack. What did you say for
Um,
Minnesota? 7?
I said Memphis in 6.
Okay, we're on the same page.
We did say the same. Um, I said Golden State in 7. You said in 6, and right now you're looking pretty right on that, or closer.
Yeah, that Nuggets team really isn't that good to me. When they're healthy, they're much better. But I mean, it's just
Exactly.
Jokic and a bunch of guys. Like, I don't really. I mean, Gordon. Imagine if the Celtics traded for Gordon. That would have been a disaster.
Aaron Gordon, yeah, he had an alright game 5 or 4 it was, but
Aaron Gordon, who was in the Uncle Drew movie.
mhm. What else we got? We got Phoenix. I said Phoenix in 4. You said Phoenix in 6. So right now you're looking more right than I was
I
because
did.
you said Phoenix in. Oh wait.
Are you? No, you. It's definitely the other way around.
Oh no, you said Phoenix in 6, but you thought it was the Clippers.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, and I said
Mhm.
if it's the Pelicans, they're bums. Yeah, I did say that.
Both of us were wrong though, and it's partially Devin Booker, but they were fighting before D Book went out too. Like
Yeah,
they've
that team's
been,
fighting hard. Good for them. And if Zion ever
they're fun.
decides he wants to, exercise, then they might really be decent.
Their problem. Their rookies are fun. That Alvarado guy, Jose, he's fun.
Yes, he'd be an excellent
He's
Celtic.
fun. So Herb Jones too.
Yep.
Very fun. Very fun. What else we got? Philly. You said Philly in 7. I said Toronto in 7, and
Might it
although it's
might it
never
might get to 7. I'm
it
rooting for
might
it to get
get
to
to
7.
7.
Even though I
Me
think
too.
Raptors fans are really annoying and I don't like Nick Nurse and I like Doc better than anybody else involved. But oh, it would be fun.
Imagine if they blow the first 3-0 lead in NBA history.
I was afraid it could be the Celtics just because of how poorly like Durant had played. And I was like, well, like if he figures it out and then,
Mhm.
Simmons comes back and he doesn't have to play as much defense, like there was definitely thoughts where I was like, oh boy, like it could be them. But thankfully it's not because the Celtics did a great job of closing that game. And you can say that for any of the games because
Mhm.
they all of a sudden know how to close.
They do. That they do. What other series? We both said Milwaukee in 4. Chicago took a game. I'll chalk that up to the Chris Middleton injury. Um, I said Dallas in 6 because I didn't know when Luka would come back. You said Dallas in 6 as well. Um,
We're on track for that.
we are on track. Utah's done. They're so done. You saw the score last night?
It was bad. I know it was at least 30.
102 to 77.
Well, it was 25.
It was up by 30. They were up by 30.
Oh boy.
It was bad. And I think that's every series. Did I cover them all? I think so.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go through and redo predictions exactly, but what are your general thoughts on the playoffs now that we've seen? Well,
I
one
think
series is done, but
Chicago and Atlanta are cooked. I think Denver's cooked. Um, I think Toronto might push it to 7, which I think everybody wants to see. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if old Scott Foster rolls up to the Scotiabank Arena for Game 6. I don't know. I know that Game 7 would do numbers, NBA.
it would. That it
Uh,
would.
I'm excited to watch Memphis and Minnesota tonight as I work, which I'm on
Hmm.
the nights for the
Who are you
next 2
rooting
weeks.
for?
Memphis. I think Cat's annoying.
I
And I
love an
like
underdog.
Ja. I like Pat Bev. I think he plays
I
hard.
think I like Ant-Man too and
Isn't
Debo.
it funny that like I don't like Cat and I like Pat Bev? Like everybody hates Pat Bev. They think he's annoying. I just think Cat's annoying. Like he's a fake tough
How?
guy. He's just a fake tough guy, man. I don't know. I can't explain it to you.
Okay.
He irks me.
So who you rooting for in the Sun series? You want
I
Phoenix
I
gone?
I want to see the Pelicans win. Just
But
who doesn't like an underdog, you know?
exactly. Do you think they have
Unless
any chance though?
Cat's on the team. I don't know. I mean, they've won.
2.
That game 3 was close too, right? The one they lost.
A little bit, yeah, I think so. It was let me just look.
I think Chris Paul took
Yeah,
over in the 4th quarter.
he did, he had
Yeah,
18 in the 4th.
good for him. I don't know. I think they could it'll probably go at least I was gonna say, we'll go at least 6. So yeah, that's how the math
Mhm.
works. I don't know. I could see them winning another game. We'll see.
2 more?
That's interesting to me. No, I don't know if they'll win. I
I think
think that
Utah's
Phoenix
done.
team is too deep. Utah
I
might be
think
cooked. We'll see if they
Utah's
go
done.
back. I'm
And
surprised they
not
won game 4. When we did the pregame for game 3, that game was happening. You were watching. I'm surprised they won.
mhm. Not only do I think Utah is cooked, I think if Devin Booker doesn't get back by round 2, I don't think the Suns beat Dallas, and I don't think they beat Dallas regardless. I think Dallas is gonna beat the Suns.
I got to tell you, I would if the Celtics make the finals. I don't want to play Dallas. I don't want to play Luca for however many games. I hate
I
that
think
guy too, man.
I think if the Celtics make the finals, they're gonna get either well, I think
I
it
think
comes down
Golden
to
State's making the finals.
I think Golden State, Phoenix, or Dallas. I think those are the only 3 options, in
I
my
would love to
opinion.
see them play Golden State. Those games when they play Golden State are always excellent. And that's a
They're very
team
fun.
that's been there. That's a team that has been in charge of the league for a while. It could
Who you
be
most scared of out of the West?
Dallas.
Dallas?
I don't want to play Luca.
Really?
Yeah,
It's
that
just Luka.
guy's a pain in the ass. I watched him play Dallas in person on KG Day, and
Yeah,
like the Celtics kind of tried what they did to KD to Luca, and it didn't work. Like
the playmaking.
he just made the right pass every single time, and then they played 4-on-3. It was bad.
Mhm.
So yeah, the answer is
Alright.
Luca. I think
You
they
fear the
match up
Mavs
okay
more
against.
than this Phoenix or Golden State?
Yeah, I think they match up okay against Phoenix, and Golden State is a team they typically always play well against. So they went out
Okay.
at Oracle pretty well. That's one thing I will say. Usually in
They
the
did.
playoffs, I'm always nervous when they go on the road to see how they play. That's a place they play really well.
They
It's
do play
Oracle,
well at
or well,
Oracle.
yeah, Oracle,
Not
where they don't play anymore. Now they play at the Chase Center.
yeah. Regardless, they play well in San
They
Fran.
play.
Who do you fear in the East?
That's tough because I think Milwaukee's scary, but I also think the Celtics, and I'm sticking to this take. They played Milwaukee really well for the last 2 seasons. Like
They always play Milwaukee
I'm
really
not
well.
sure. I don't know. We'll see when that series
I know
comes
who
around.
I
I'm not
fear.
going to make
You
any.
know who I
Yeah,
fear.
Miami's a pain in the ass, man. I don't
They're
want to see
such
them
a pain
either.
in the ass.
That game that they came to the Garden and won a month ago or whatever, that was a game where it was like, oh boy, like you just saw Spoelstra make an adjustment mid game. I'm not sure Nash made an adjustment all series, so that's something you're going to have to, adjust to. It's part of it. But geez,
Spoelstra's probably the best
yeah.
coach in the East outside of
And I don't
well,
want to see
he's
Nick
better.
Nurse with his mouth agape on the sideline if
Mhm.
Toronto somehow gets out of that series. So I guess like ideally you would want Philly because Embiid looks kind of cooked already. He's hurt. He
I
did
don't
not
think they
look good
get
on
past
defense.
Miami, though. I don't think
I
they
don't
beat
know if they do
Miami.
either. And Harden has been a no-show from everything I've
Harden
seen online.
stinks. He's not doing
That
anything.
guy's a bum. Screw him.
Tyrese Maxey's looking better than
Well, good
Harden.
for
Tyrese
Maxey.
Maxey,
Harden's the worst. He's like the epitome of everything that's wrong with the NBA.
he's
Forcing his
something,
way
man.
off of 2 different teams. Bum.
He's something. I hope Toronto comes out in game 6 and smacks, Philadelphia, and then, hell, I don't even care. Maybe they win again. That'd be incredible, but, I think Miami is coming out of that side of the bracket, and I'm crossing my fingers for the Celtics and the Bucks, but took care of
I
business in
I
round
still
1.
think the Celtics can beat Miami.
I agree. I just think it'll be not fun to watch.
And I also before we wrap, I do want to say the Celtics have to be an all-time confident right now. This is a series.
Yes.
This is like they kind of like called their shot. They said, "All right, we'll play this team and we'll beat them because we're not afraid." Not only they beat them, they swept them, and like they neutralized Kevin Durant for 3 games, and he had a lot of points in Game 4, but he wasn't like efficient or anything. He wasn't unconscious. He just took a lot of shots. Like if you're the Celtics, you're really feeling good right now. You're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
we just beat the team that was the title favorite at the beginning of the season in 4 games. Tatum was on a tear. Brown has been great down the stretch. And if anything, I mean, they closed 4 games in a row.
They did. Good games. Really good
What were
games.
they, 5-19 in close games or something this season?
Something bad. They were bad.
Like, that's the one thing that you were worried about coming into the playoffs, and they just said, "Hey, look at us, we can do it."
They did it. They did it. Yeah, I don't think there's a team more confident in the NBA right now than the Celtics outside of maybe, um, Golden State, but then their confidence probably just got shot down a tiny bit, at least wavered with that
No, I
loss.
mean,
Well, they're not still riding the highs, at least. They were cut down a peg at the bare minimum, but it's shaping up to be I don't wanna say I think Golden State and Dallas have the best chances to come out of the West now with the Devin injury. I predicted Dallas to come out of the West before the injury, so I'm just gonna stick to that. I still predicted Boston before the playoffs, and I'm gonna stick with that as well. I think they probably not funnily enough, but they probably have the toughest path to the finals out of any team in the East, I would argue. Um, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, probably, and Miami or Philadelphia, probably, right? Like, there's not a tougher road to get there, because the other 3, outside of maybe Philly, I guess, with Toronto, but
oh
Atlanta and
boy.
Chicago. Uh-oh. Do I need to look at my phone?
Mm, I guess KD went on Instagram today.
Oh, is this
and went-
Charles Barkley?
Yeah.
I saw that. That's funny.
I'm not sure if this is real though, because the first one, he doesn't have the check mark. The second one he does.
What is this? Is it the Rockets jerseys thing?
Yeah.
I saw that. That's funny.
I don't know. I mean, I guess if people are talking about it, it's probably real. Like people aren't stupid. But oh
Well,
boy.
yeah, he he would, because Charles said something about KD being a ring chaser, and so he posted a bunch of pictures with Chuck in Rockets jerseys. Where would Chuck be without all the big homies? Oh man. Excuse me.
Chuck was on the
KD.
Kool-Aid at the beginning of the series. He said they're going to beat the crap out of the Nets after the play-in.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Good for Chuck. You get one
Yeah.
right once in a while.
Anyways, that's all I got for today. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about quick before
All
we
right.
hop
We
on
gave
out
you
of here?
guys an hour. We're sorry we were off for the first round. Jack, how do you want to do this going forward? Do you want to do one after every game?
Yeah, I'm down. We could swing that. I know I
Let's see
have
if we can do that.
I'm very down.
I
And
might
then
even
what?
be able to do them at night
Yeah, after the games?
because for the next couple weeks I'm supposed to work at night, so I'm getting out at 11:30.
Oh, bet. And you know my ass will be
And I
up.
know you're up. I'm just trying to think for you because I'm like, oh boy, like if we do them, I'm gonna have to do them before I go to work. Like I don't know if Jack's gonna be up yet.
I can get up if you need me to, but we can
Yeah, but
definitely
we'll
do
see. We'll see what we
post-game
want to do.
reactions. I think because I know Banner Banter does it, so we could do some collabs and stuff. So we
I
could
think
do
if I'm a listen, let us know what you think, listeners. If you want
yeah,
it after every game, we will do our best to do it.
tweet at us,
I don't
message
think I'm
us,
going to any
stuff like
games
that.
this series, so I don't think that's going to be an
I
issue.
might go to one because I won that bet.
Oh, that's right.
With Timmy
Yes.
G.
See if
But
you can go with Timmy G. I got to meet Timmy G. Did I tell you that?
you did,
Yeah.
Cool guy. Shout
Timmy
out
G
Timmy
was
G.
great.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Sorry for the lack of episodes during the first round, but hey, they wrapped it up with a nice little bow for us, so it's
Yes.
fine. I'm back. We'll be much more consistent from now on, and I'll throw it over to Sam to wrap us up.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for listening or watching. We are sorry we weren't able to do any shows during the first round, but hopefully you got your fix watching some of us. Jack was on some cameos there on the Guy Boston pre-games. We will continue to do those 30 minutes before every Celtics game. It'll be an assortment of us too, Tim and KJ, usually 3 of us. We had all 4 of us on the stream yesterday for a short period. But yeah, subscribe to Guy Boston or Bannertown on YouTube. And if you listen to us exclusively, then find us on the streaming service. Just follow us so you don't miss a new podcast, just in case Jack doesn't tweet it out. He's a busy man. You can follow the 2 of us if you're watching. Our names are on the screen. If not, you can follow Jack at Jack Simone NBA. He's writing everywhere, so I'm sure if you're reading an article, his name might be on it. And you can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's our show for today. Bye.